Hello, my name's Steve Sargeant. I'm the venue director here at Beam. And as part of our celebration for World Theatre Day, I'm joined by
Nicholle Cherrie. Hi, I'm an actor, singer, artist, and I'm really happy to be here.
And we wanted to have a conversation for Beam audiences that I suppose just pulls back the curtain on what it's like to be a professional performer. So thank you for joining us. And thank you for coming back as well. I know you've been to Beam before, but you've not been in this space.
No.
I think this is probably a building site last time you were. But this is stage 2. And in fact, we opened it just this week. So it's great to have you with us here. So I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit about where your journey in theatre started and what was it that made you want to pursue a career in theatre?
I'd say arguably my journey started from home. I grew up in a Caribbean household, Jamaican household specifically. And I think naturally we're a bunch of creative people, storytellers, natural storytellers. I think Jamaicans are some of the most expressive people I know. And it was kind of natural. I grew up listening to a lot of music. My dad playing vinyls, listening to lovers rock. I was kind of exposed to music and creative environments quite early on. And then, my parents really encouraged me to dance. I danced at a young age. I did ballet and tap. And it was only until I was about maybe 11 that I saw my first theatre show. It was The Lion King.
Amazing. Solid favourite.
Solid. It still is today. It has a special place in my heart. I'm not yet been in it, but at some point I will, for sure. That is definitely a goal of mine. And I was just amazed by the whole spectacle of it. I thought, wow, as a kid. But it only, I think a few years later, I only really registered that was something people actually do for a living. I don't know. I think my 11-year-old brain sort of just popped along and enjoyed it for the moment.
Sure.
But as I got older, I was like, wow, this is something people can actually do for a living. Then I kind of dived deep into the whole world of theatre making from there.
That's amazing. And look, I know that you've had a really varied professional career.
Yeah.
What have been some of the highlights of that for you?
Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard to pick just because, I'll tell you why. I kind of see my career as little markers throughout my life. And when I think about a show that I've been in, I think about the period of where I was at in my life, the stage of my life. And at the time, they're really special for that moment. So for instance, my first ever job was Jesus Christ Superstar. I booked that job before I graduated. So it was huge. I was like, I'm a working actor. I did it. And it was amazing for me. It was at Regent's Park, open air.
It was amazing, bro.
Oh, it was so good, honestly. And it was just, I had, in terms of vocal qualities, there were people that had more rocky sounds, or people that had more classical sounds, or people that had more of an R&B sound. And I just have never seen such a varied scope of performers in one space. And it just really opened my eyes to the possibilities of spaces that I could fill as an actor, because so for me, that really set me up. But I also had goals, I really, really love Shakespeare and wanted to do that from college, from pre-drama school. I've always wanted to be able to do that. I didn't think I'd be able to get the opportunity to work at the Globe so early on in my career, but that was also a really cool moment for me. There's loads. Traveling internationally, love, being out of the country.
Well, let's talk about traveling now? I mean, last time you were here at Beam was as part of the UK tour for Black is the Colour of My Voice, that amazing show about Nina Simone. What's it like as a, as a principal performer or the only performer at a one-woman show?
Yeah.
What's it like touring the country in that way?
Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot. Getting used to new spaces, audiences. It's such a huge challenge, but was so rewarding. If you had told me that I was going to be in a one-woman show, even like a month before, in fact, when the audition came through, I was like, nah. It's going to be too much for me because I'd seen the show before and it was epic. So actually being able to do it, I think that as a performer, doing a one-person show, there's a sense of ownership that you can gain that you don't have access to necessarily when you're as a whole, like, bigger company. Because it's only you on that stage telling the story. And also you obviously you've got the help, the props and the lighting and the set, but it really comes down to you telling the truth of that character's journey. And so
there must be quite a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it can be, yeah. Especially like if you're not feeling, it's not every day that you wake up and you just want to go. I mean, it's a blessing to be able to do the things that we love. But some days are hard. Some days you don't really want to. It takes a lot, especially with that show, portraying essentially Nina Simone's life. There is a lot emotionally that you have to give. And sometimes you're just not in a space where you have the capacity to do that, and in a way that feels light, And so
I know exactly what you mean. Some mornings I don't want to get out of bed, and I just sit at an office. Sit at the office desk and type away at the computer and don't have to access deep emotions. So I'm constantly in awe of performers who are able to dig so deep every single week for every single audience.
Yeah.
I mean, I do know that audiences here absolutely love that show. In fact, just this morning, somebody was telling me about how it really stuck with them. So it's clearly worth it. But I suppose from your perspective as a performer, that's kind of just one of the challenges of kind of having a career in this industry. And I wonder what sustains you during the ups and downs of life as a performer.
Having a good circle. If you've got people in your corner that are loving on you and lifting you, and to be able to show up for yourself, know when you need time to rest, to ask for the things that you need, and that's from your friends and family, and also from people that are like a part of production. I think it's essential as performers that we are able to advocate for ourselves and, really ask ourselves what it is that we need to move forward. I think for me, I made sure that I had regular sessions with a therapist, a drama therapist, so I started doing the show, which was so beneficial. I took the time out when I needed and tried to eat good food.
Absolutely. It's all about the food.
Yeah.
And of course, it's not just the UK that you've toured. I think you've worked internationally with other shows as well, is that right?
Yeah, I have. I've worked. Where have I worked? I worked in Cyprus, I worked in Scotland, I worked in Canada. Canada was amazing. I think those are the shows that I love the most in terms of traveling, because you're just basically transported to a new bubble. And especially when you've got more than one person doing the show, you have a cast of people. It's a dream.
And what show was that you performed in Canada?
Yeah, that was Girl from the North Country. So
amazing.
a few months in Canada and then came back to the West End and we performed at the Guildford for a few months or so. And that was incredible. I love that show.
Tight Connection to My Heart is constantly on, it's constantly on my playlist. It's such a beautiful track.
It is so beautiful. I remember I actually front of housed that show. And when I front of housed it, I was like, wow, I want to do that.
That's amazing.
So it was a real full circle moment. And I actually performed in the theatre that I front of housed.
That's been amazing.
Yeah, it was cool. One of the front of house ushers came out and cheered me on. So it was a really beautiful, and I got to sing that song. So it was
amazing.
It was amazing. That is really like, it's moments like that that make me think like, wow, Nicholle, you've done a lot of work over the years, but it's worth.
And it's special for the audience as well. I mean, thinking back to when you first saw Lion King and the experiences that you've had as an audience member, what do you think is so special about theatre?
To be able to feel seen. I think you never know how you're going to move somebody. You never know what someone's going to take away from a performance. And I think just to know that you're a little part of that for someone and is huge. And yeah, it's something that I don't ever take for granted.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So thinking about the future,
Yeah.
what have you got coming up?
I actually don't have anything. Well, I am trying at the moment to really step back and think about all of the ways I can be creative. I have so many passions and hobbies. And I think sometimes it's easy when an actor to get sucked into the next job. We're always pushing to be like, what are you doing next? What are you doing next? You meet people and they're like, what are you working on next? And you're like, wow. And so I think it's really important for me to take time to like digest and to explore new things. I love theatre, so I'm always gonna find a home. Yes. But I think I'm gonna take a tiny weeny break and in a sense of doing long period, like shows with long period.
Sure.
As I couldn't stop completely, but yeah, and just find also or continue to do the other creative pursuits that I like to have. Yeah, a lot of collaborating, I think, in theatre, which I'm excited about.
That's brilliant. Well, look, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but before we go, I've got just a few quick fire questions.
Okay, go.
Okay, so, what's the best show you've ever seen?
Oh, best show I've ever seen. Okay, what comes to mind is Colour Purple. I saw it on Broadway. I was like, ah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Was it the one with Sid Theory?
Yes, it was.
Oh,
and John Hudson.
Oh. Okay. What is the performance of yours you're most proud of?
Yeah. Black as a colour. It has to be.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Is there a role that you really want to play in the future?
Apart from Nala in The Lion King.
It could be Nala in The Lion King.
So, yeah. I think I don't know if it's been created yet, but I'd love to work. I'd love to work in film. I'd love to work in the Caribbean. And I'd love to do a short film that has a storyline that has musical elements in it. Yeah, so that's what I'd like to do, sing on film.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay, and lastly, is there any advice that you would give to young people who are looking at a career in theatre and inspired by some of the things that they're seeing on stage? Is there any advice you'd give that?
Yeah, just go for it. Go for it. Play, learn, always study, be open. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Oh my goodness, don't put too much pressure on yourself. We are all learning. We're all growing. If you love it, stick at it. It's going to be tough, but it's also going to be amazing.
Amazing. Well, Nicholle, thank you so much for spending time with us today and for sharing our celebration for Wilpia today. It has been a joy to have you back at Beam, and hopefully you'll come back and tread the boards on our stage once more very soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks a lot.